Hey guys, welcome to dittdott. Today I'm going to be making chicken pesto ravioli, and here's some foreshadowing. It actually does end up coming out. Now enjoy! And we're live. Actually, we're not live. So I have been doing Instagram live videos, but I would like to start maybe posting some to YouTube. And you can't do live videos on YouTube until you have 1,000 subscribers. So goals. In the meantime, we'll see what we can do. Pre-recorded. Today I am attempting to make chicken ravioli. I've only made ravioli a handful of times, but it's something that every once in a while I just kind of get the urge to make. I have a ravioli press that makes these teeny tiny raviolis, and it was a nightmare to use. So I hopped onto Amazon and bought a new ravioli press, and I'm very excited to try it. It makes, I think 1 1/4 inch raviolis. But right now I'm going to make the filling. It's 11:45 a.m. I just finished doing schoolwork with my kids. They're upstairs doing some independent work, and the house is quiet right now. So I'm gonna make the stuffing now when I have time, and that way it's also cool, because you want to put cooled stuffing into your pasta dough. So, all right, so first I'm gonna get half an onion that I used from last night and start prepping it up. And so I'm going for a chicken vegetable ravioli. And I'm gonna put, I was gonna do just chicken and mushrooms, but I was on Pinterest looking for some inspiration. I put on my garbage bowl. I was on Pinterest looking for some inspiration, and I saw one recipe that had carrots in it, and I was thinking that might sound interesting. So a lot of times what I do when I want to make something, especially something that I don't make very often and just can like do on the fly. So, oh, this paper doesn't want to come off. Come on, onion, don't fight me. This is a stubborn onion. That's crazy. Okay. I will go, on the web, especially Pinterest, and look at like 4 different recipes of a specific thing that I want to do, and just kind of get like some ideas in my head, and then I do my own thing. I take like the best ideas that I think are flavors that would work for me and my family and put them together. So I'm dicing this up really small because, again, when you are going to stuff raviolis, you don't use very much filling. You use like 2 teaspoons of filling per ravioli, maybe 3 at the most. And so if you have a giant onion chunk, then that's all you're gonna taste, and that's not gonna make for the best ravioli. All right, I'm gonna turn on my skillet to kind of like a medium heat. And again, just kind of like, so I, rough tracked it one way, cross cut it. Now I'm just kind of going back over to get the onion more finely cut. All right, I'm gonna put some olive oil in my skillet and grab a spoon. So my first big challenge, because I'm really excited about doing this cooking channel. Like, I've been talking about it with all my friends, something I've wanted to do for a while, but I've never just really looked into it. And then I saw something that said, just start messy, go with it. So y'all are like on this journey with me to figure this out. And there's been, you know, many amazing creators ahead of me, before me. And so I'm hoping to learn from their wisdom. But on Instagram Live, my camera can go up and down, and I was able to fit, like I didn't have all this dead space over here. On YouTube, I have to have it horizontal, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to position my camera. Like, I feel like you can't even see what I'm doing. So I don't know if this will even work. This video may never be seen. Hopefully it will. I mean, honestly, like, I want you just to kind of come on this adventure with me, visit, chat, maybe learn some things. I've been cooking since I was a teenager. I call myself a Food Network child because Food Network started at the end of 1993, became more popular in 1994, and I watched it all the time. Like, okay, not all the time, because my mom actually had very strict TV rules, but you know, she let me have 30 minutes of television a day. I was watching Food Network. One of my favorite shows was Sarah Moulton, and she was an hour. So I'd be like, Mom, I need more than 30 minutes. I want to watch the whole episode. You know, because that was before DVRs. You had to watch live and watch the commercials. All right, again, with the garlic, you want to chop it up very finely. A lot of times, the very tip of the garlic that was at the root part, you want to throw that out because it can just be like a tough bite. Sometimes I just chop it up small and don't even, and just keep on chopping, and sometimes it bothers me and I pull it out. I was also discussing with my friends like what the name for my channel should be. I was kind of joking around. I'm like, it should be called What Not to Do When You're Cooking with Amanda. Because I break all the rules. No, I don't. I don't break all the rules, but the important thing is to know the rules and know why something's happening, and then decide if it's worth your bother or not. Okay, so I've got this garlic finely minced. Hopefully you can see that. See, I don't know. I gotta figure out this whole camera thing. Who knew? Starting a video channel, the hardest part would be making the videos. I'm just... What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Okay, so my goal here is to get the onion to kind of a translucent stage. When I was a kid, I hated onion in my food. And what I realized it wasn't really the onion, it was when it wasn't properly cooked. Sometimes you want crunchy onion in your food, but a lot of times you want the onion flavor, but you don't really want that crunch. So if you saute it down where it gets translucent and soft, you're gonna get nice good onion flavor, but you're not gonna have like this weird crunch texture that you don't want in a ravioli. A lot of times when you are cooking onion, you want it to caramelize. You want it to get brown around the edges. In this dish, that will like really intensify the onion flavor. In this dish, I want the onion to be kind of in the background, so I don't want it to caramelize. So I'm not cooking it on high, I'm cooking it on a lower heat so it won't turn brown. All right, I'm gonna grab some mushrooms. So, I don't know, I really like the idea of the carrot, but I'm also kind of lazy, and so to put the carrot in, I'm either going to have to get out my food processor, or I'm going to have to dice it like by hand really small. I don't know. Maybe not feeling the carrot so much as I was a few minutes ago. We might just go real simple. I'm going to do mushrooms and cheese and chicken. I think that will be good. So this morning in our homeschool lessons, so I've been homeschooling my kids since they were old enough to be school aged. I always hesitate because it's like, do you say from preschool? Do you say from birth? Because, technically I taught them, maybe how to walk and crawl, but did I? I don't know. But they've never gone to any kind of formal schooling yet. And I say yet because, we don't know what the future will hold. We take our homeschooling 1 year at a time and evaluate. And so far, every year it's been growing great, and we like it as a family. I have twins, and they are in 7th grade. Anytime you talk to a longtime homeschooler, they'll say grade, because homeschoolers don't really go by a particular grade. Like age-wise, they're 7th grade, but in literature they're taking 8th or 9th grade classes. But like math and science, they're taking 7th grade classes. It's all good. Anyway, in our history, we're doing American history this year, and we were reading about Abraham Lincoln. And one of the things that I love the most about homeschooling is I feel like I'm actually learning the things that I should have learned in school or could have learned in school, but there was so much going on that I just never realized or remembered. I don't know if it's age brings wisdom. I don't know. Anyway, we're studying the assassination of Abraham Lincoln today, and we're reading this book called Chasing Lincoln's Killer. And it dawned on me as we were reading, I actually don't know if they caught Booth or if they just know who did it and did he get away. So it's kind of exciting because I don't want to look up the answer. I'm running along with the kids. And we're reading this really good historic book, nonfiction book. So far, I'd recommend it. We're like 4 chapters in, so, don't know how. I mean, I don't really like to recommend a book until I'm finished with it, but so far it's good. Okay, so I am just like, I don't know if you can see very well, but I'm just like chopping up this mushroom kind of wildly. Again, I want small pieces. I don't want an entire mushroom in my ravioli. That wouldn't be tasty. I mean, unless you have mushroom raviolis and then you want the whole bite to be mushroom, that would be amazing. I love mushroom ravioli, but since I want a bunch of flavors to go together. Okay, so you saw I added the mushroom to my cutting board, but I'm like, I want some more mushroom. So my cutting board was getting a little full, so I just went ahead and added it in there, and now I'm just chopping up a little bit more. Okay, mushroom in. Oh, and if you have any questions about cooking or homeschool, shoot them in the comment section below, and I would be happy to answer to the best of my knowledge whatever your questions are. I'm going to add a little bit more olive oil because mushrooms are like sponges. They're going to soak it up, and you don't want them to stick and burn. So I like cooking in non-stick skillets. I mean, they say there's like health things, but honestly, it was more of a ego thing. Again, I told you I'm a child of Food Network, and the chefs on Food Network would not be caught dead cooking in a Teflon skillet. So, of course, I wasn't going to be caught dead cooking in a Teflon skillet. So I actually have all-clad skillets. I bought them. It's debatable. Apparently our memory is not very good. That my husband and I have been married almost 18 years. I said I bought them right after college. He says we bought them right after we got married, which actually is about the same time. So No, I always thought I got them after I graduated from high school and then just put them in storage. He says we got them after our wedding, after college. And his memory is better than mine, so he's probably right, but don't tell him that. Anyway, all clad. I remember I spent like $700, which at that age was like, well, it still is, a huge amount of money. But 18 years later, I'm still using the same pots and pans. So I bought a big set. Okay, so now I'm going to open my spice drawer, which still has not been alphabetized because, again, I only think to ask my kids to do it while I'm cooking. And that's a little assignment I keep wanting to give them. Okay, I'm going to put some Italian. It's just a mix of Italian herbs. Be generous with your seasoning. And actually, I'm probably going to come back and season it a second time once I add the chicken. I like to season in layers. Okay, so my mushrooms are cooked down. My onions are nice and translucent. The garlic is looking good. Nothing sticking. I'm going to go grab the chicken. Okay, I bought ground chicken. Extra lean, 98% fat free. So I like to buy, so when I'm cooking, I'm not afraid of fat at all. I cook with lots of butter and oil. But when I'm doing my meats, I tend to buy lean meat. Because another name for my cooking show could be the lazy chef. And I hate taking the time to drain okay, so now I'm adding some butter. Because once I add this chicken, it will stick if there's not enough coating. I don't like to take the time to drain the meats after you cook them. And so if you start with very lean meat, you won't have this like pile of grease at the end. Okay, and then it has this lovely sheet of paper. And then I'm gonna wash my hands because I touched some of that chicken and I don't want chicken cookies everywhere. And then I'm going to immediately start breaking it up so that it will get, you don't want it to cook in that shape, otherwise it won't break up easily as it cooks up. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat up on my skillet. So I'm still learning this stove. We've been in this house just over 3 months now. It's very exciting. My last stove was electric, so I'm getting used to a gas stove again after not cooking on one for 8 years. And of course the last one I had is different than this one. I'm really excited. This one's got you can't see it, but it's got this center bar right here. So you can put a, can't think of the word, griddle down the middle, and it's got a long, skinny flame. All right, so this is probably going to take 10 minutes or so to saute up. It's also a good reason not to do a live video because you got the really long wait times, you know. So what I'm going to do is let this cook. I'm going to go ahead and stop this video, and then I'll come back, show you what it looks like when it's done, and add the rest of the ingredients, and then we'll be done with the filling of our chicken ravioli. Now that the chicken is about half done, I am going to go ahead and add a little bit more Italian seasoning, a little bit more salt, and a little bit more pepper. Hey guys, so the chicken is now cooked all the way through, and so we're going to add just a few more ingredients, and then our stuffing will be done. So it's also had time to cool. So I let it cook all the way through, and then my husband and I went on a walk around the block. Well, I don't know, the neighborhood, I guess. And then, um, so one of the benefits that I've had with um, quarantines and things like that is my husband working from home. It's been really nice that he can sometimes take breaks and go on walks with, quick walks, just get outside and get some fresh air. On days in the Pacific Northwest when it's not raining, it's really nice to get out. So right now I'm just kind of like cutting this up a little bit more. Like I said earlier, I want really small pieces. I used to have this really cool tool that would grind up ground meats, but I don't know what happened with it. That's okay. The edge of the wooden spoon is working pretty good. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna carefully put my meat and mushroom onion mixture in a big bowl. Set it out of the way. And then I have some mozzarella cheese. I'm gonna take a nice handful of it. And then I'm gonna look at it and go, well, it needs a little bit more. So 2 handfuls. And then, okay, you'll see this is cottage cheese. And you're like thinking to yourself, Amanda, what are you doing? Why are you using cottage cheese? That's crazy. Most Italian recipes and ravioli recipes use ricotta cheese. Well, back when I was a kid, ricotta was a little bit harder to get at the grocery store, just the everyday grocery store. And it was also a lot more expensive than cottage cheese. And so I grew up, my mom subbed cottage cheese for ricotta cheese in recipes like lasagna. And I grew up liking the taste of cottage cheese more than ricotta cheese. So if you don't like ricotta cheese, like in lasagnas and cannolis and all of that, try it with cottage cheese. I try to buy the small curd one. Okay, this one is not the small curd. This is just regular, I guess. But they have like, some cottage cheese come in small, large, and I guess this is just a regular curd. But, so I'm gonna put, this is also kind of like the binder of the, man, I got a lot of stuffing here. That's my problem with raviolis. I always seem to have way too much stuffing. And I don't like making that many raviolis because I get impatient. So what I'll do is I'll either freeze it for next time, which never really ever happens, or I'll probably use whatever's left over in some other kind of dish. And, stick with me and find out what I end up doing, because I can guarantee I'm not going to make enough raviolis to use this much stuffing. But it won't go to waste. It will not go to waste. Maybe I'll turn the rest, well, I was gonna say maybe I turn the rest into a lasagna, but then that wouldn't be quite enough to make an actual whole lasagna. Ooh, a chicken lasagna, that sounds good. Okay, so I got this nice and mixed up, and I'm gonna give it a taste. Remember, my chicken's cold because I don't want it to melt the cheese. I just want it to mix together with the cheese. Okay, that's really good. I'm thinking about adding an egg, so I would bind it even more, but I don't think I'm going to. I think this is good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cover this up, stick it in the refrigerator, and then later I'll be back to make pasta. and then we'll make some raviolis. Hey guys, I'm back. So the stuffing for the raviolis is still in the refrigerator, and now we're going to attempt to make pasta dough. Again, this is something I've only done a handful of times. Just when I'm kind of in the mood for a much more involved type meal. I'm not an apron person. They just don't ever feel comfortable on me. But when you're making pasta dough, unless you really want flour all over your outfit, pulling out an apron is a wise choice. I think I got this one for Christmas from somebody one year, and I really wish I could remember who got it for me, but it's really cute. It's got a little sea turtle on it. Anyway, okay. So I just got my flour out of the pantry and realized it was really low, so I need to refill my flour bucket. So what have I been doing this afternoon after I finished that, the inside, the stuffing? I have been on YouTube and Google trying to, okay, my counters are really clean, by the way. I already scrubbed them this a little while ago and made sure that you don't want like cleaner on your counter. Like you want to clean it with just soap and water, because you don't want, you know, like a bleach cleaner to get up into your food. And then I'm just making sure it's nice and dry now. Anyway, like I said, I was on, I've been on YouTube and Google trying to figure out how to get the file, the video file, off my phone and onto my computer. Used to, you could just like hook the USB cord from your computer to your, and it would just transfer, but apparently my newest phone is too good for that. And yeah, I don't know. It wasn't successful. So hopefully I will get, we'll find out if these videos go live. I figured out how to get them onto my computer so that I could edit them together and create a video. Okay. Oh man, I'm making a lot of pasta. Okay, it's kind of hard to see the white flour on the white countertop. But I've got a pile of about 3.5 cups of flour, and I'm going to crack 4 eggs into it. Oh, my puppy Watson, his head just popped up. He loves raw eggs, or any eggs, hard-boiled, raw. Isn't this so pretty? Okay, so making pasta really isn't difficult. It's just time consuming. And then I need a little bit of olive oil too. Kinda want to stop what I'm doing and take a photo of this. Now you have your flour and you've got your little well and you cracked your eggs into it, and you grab a fork to poke the egg yolks and carefully start whisking them together. And as you do this, just work slowly, and you will slowly incorporate the flour from the edges of your little flour mound, your little flour volcano that we got here. So this is like a basic pasta recipe. Sometimes I like to go rogue and I'll add, I say this sometimes, like I do this all the time. Like seriously guys, I've only made pasta from scratch, I don't know, probably less than 10 times in my life, maybe up to 15. But a couple of times I've gone rogue and I've added some seasonings. Like, I don't know why, but salt is never part of a pasta recipe, and that's probably something, like maybe it makes the pasta too firm or something. There's probably a chemistry reason for that. I haven't looked it up, but I have added salt. You're supposed to salt the water, not the dough. But I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going traditional, but I have added basil and oregano. But today we're keeping it simple with flour, the eggs. Some people just use the egg yolks. And again, it's not hard, it's just time consuming. Nancy, you can come down. I'm videoing how to make pasta. Have you ever seen this part made? No. My daughter Izzy is slowly coming down the stairs, deciding if she wants to be a part of this video experience. A teenager in all her glory. Okay, now it gets fun. And you can maybe start to use your hands. But you got this, like, if you ever had a kid that was into slime, it's starting to feel slime-like right now. And you're going to start kneading. And eventually, this will actually come into a dough. It's hard to believe that at this moment. There's some oozy eggs still in here. Again, I've only done traditional pasta like this a handful of times. Usually I get out my stand mixer or my food processor to do the dough. But I don't know, it's just feeling old school today. See, now it's getting shaggy. This almost needs I need to be on at my old house, my countertops were black granite, and that would have showed up a lot better. Of course, it would have been harder to film because that kitchen was a lot smaller. So, did you get a hold of your friend? No? I didn't try. So, now, most of the flour has been wetted down by the egg yolk, and now we're just working on kneading it. And this can take, you know, about 6 minutes or so. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, work on this, because I'm seriously just gonna be doing this over and over for about 6 minutes or so. Okay guys, forget old school. I even got out my stool so I could get some leverage, but I'm really having a hard time getting this dough to come together. So I did go ahead and pull out my food processor. We're gonna see if we can save this by having it do the manual labor for us. And I also got out a spritz bottle and added a little bit of water. You don't wanna add too much, but I've had the fireplace going today, and I think the air in this house is just very dry, and that will 100% affect your dough. And I think it's just too dry in this house for this pasta. Okay, so I'm gonna knead this for a while in the food processor, and I'll show you how it comes out. Okay, so when plan A didn't work, I went on to plan B, the food processor, which I really shouldn't have done because, I don't know, you can do dough in the food processor, but really your KitchenAid is meant more for dough. Food processor actually did help quite a bit, but it was still not coming together. So I went to plan C, and look, I'm standing on a stool now so I can get leverage, and I put the dough in the food processor. I did have to add a little bit more olive oil and a couple more spritzes of water. Again, I've been having the fireplace, and I think it's just, the air is just really dry. But it is finally starting to come together. So we are starting to have a glossy, tight dough. So let's bring it up to the camera so I can show you. So it's not there yet, but it is definitely getting closer. So I'm gonna knead on this for a few more minutes. I'm actually gonna wrap it up in plastic wrap and let it rest for half an hour or so. And then hopefully once it's had time to rest, it will knead out and be good. And then we can roll it and make some pasta. So, you know, cooking is just experimenting and rolling with the punches. And when one thing doesn't work, try the next thing. I was kind of laughing at myself. Oh, my daughter left the pantry. I was kind of laughing at myself because I was like, wait, this really shouldn't be my first YouTube video to go up. Actually, I think I have 2 old ones up there from like a long time ago. Because I'm really actually much more of a simple cook. I don't do big projects like this very often. I just was kind of in the mood for it this week. And so, yes, I do more adventurous, and I would say making homemade ravioli is fairly adventurous. I do adventurous cooking like this occasionally, but I'm much more of a quick weeknight cook. So, kind of funny that I just started filming today on a day where I'm making a crazy meal, but all right. Like I said, I'm gonna wrap this up, put plastic wrap, let it rest, and then the next time you see me, we'll be set up to roll out pasta dough. Okay guys, so we're back. It's been about half an hour. My dough has been resting. Let's cross our fingers and like hope that the magic of the rest did the... Oh gosh, my camera's like really twisted, tilted. Okay. And let's hope that it will come together. It feels good. So while it was resting, I did some more Googling and I figured out that I had a cheap USB cable hooked up to my computer and it didn't recognize my phone. So I was finally able to get the first videos I took of myself cooking the filling onto my computer. So it's kind of funny. You get to hear about how I'm trying to create this YouTube video while I'm actually still in the middle of making it, because this is a all-day cooking project. Again, honestly, it's so funny that I'm jumping in with both feet on a video that is not a typical cooking day for me. This is definitely one of my more adventurous ones. Okay, but we'll see. All right, so what I'm gonna do is take a chunk of this dough. I think you're supposed to use a knife actually, but you know, who does what we're supposed to? Okay, I'm going to knead it kind of like Play-Doh and kind of roll it out just a little bit. Don't have to roll it out too much because I have this really cool pasta press. If you don't have one of these and you want to make ravioli, you can. It's just going to require a lot more rolling and a lot more patience. And I would aim to make a smaller amount. Okay. Seriously though. I actually was excited to try this because I made homemade spaghetti a couple weeks ago. I guess I'm just on a homemade pasta kick. So I was like, oh, let's make homemade ravioli. And then I'll probably go another 5 years before I try it again. All right, come on. So, you know, honestly, if you want to learn how to make raviolis, this is probably not the video that you should be watching. But if you want to see how someone just kind of makes it work in the kitchen, keep on watching. Because this is just me having fun. Honestly, I promise. Actually, I'm having a lot of fun. Like, I like it when you feel like, oh my God, it's not working, and then all of a sudden it works. Okay, this actually should be going through a lot faster, but this dough is just not wanting to cooperate with me today. So I'll just give it its love. Love the dough. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this part because it doesn't want to go through right now and say, okay, you can come in later. You can play later. Okay, so you might get something that looks really funny at first, and that's okay. That I'm not worried about. That happens all the time. And then you fold it in thirds, and we're gonna feed it through again. So John, my husband, just took the girls to their Taekwondo class tonight. And just left a little bit ago. My idea was that I would have these ravioli done by the time they got home, but it's not quite looking that way. There we go. There we go. Okay. Instead of folding it in thirds again, I'm going to just go ahead and run it through one more time. The point of folding it in thirds partially is it's another way to knead it, and we want long, straight rectangles ideally. Pasta sheet already rolled out. It didn't come out that perfectly, but it was my first one to do, so that happens sometimes. But seriously, that's how this whole video is gone. One thing I said, I was like, I think it's kind of fun that you get to see how I'm trying to learn how to do a video while I'm actually doing the video. And then at the end, if everything comes together, you will, you know, see all these weird comments. Okay, so I've got it set to 1, which is the biggest opening. If you don't have a pasta roller, they really aren't that expensive. If it's something that you think you would really enjoy making from scratch, you do want to invest in one of these. This one does sheets of pasta, and then it's got an attachment to do like linguine and spaghetti. Okay, I'm actually going to roll it through one more time on the same setting. And then you'll end up with something that looks like that. And still in that first setting, we're going to see if we can get it to start looking more like, aha, see, more rectangular-ish. You can do that even one more time just to help get that rectangle shape to form. So I folded it into thirds. And I'm going to roll it through. No, this one didn't quite roll quite rectangular-ish, but that's okay. It's still coming out better sheet-like. And by no means at all am I an expert pasta maker. Pasta is just something I like to, okay, so I went down a notch, now I'm going to go down another notch. Pasta is just something that I think it's fun to do when you want a bigger cooking day. And actually, I think the more you do it, just like anything in life, the easier it would be and the faster you can get at it. Okay, so like every time I roll it through, I just go down a notch, and sometimes you can feel like, oh, I just want to go through on that same level again, and that's fine too. All right, I'm going to, this is the last notch on my pasta roller. Okay. Now let's see, just because I'm curious. Normally I'd roll out all my sheets, but I want to get to the fun part. I want to see if I can stuff some raviolis and see. Now I haven't used this ravioli maker before. I have one that's similar. Like I said at the beginning of my video, it made really small ones. I think I said these make 1 inch, but I think maybe they're bigger than that. These look like more like 2-inch raviolis. Okay, so the idea is to lay down your pasta, and see, this one did not come out as a rectangle, because it was my first one. But that's okay. I'm just going to use the ones that cover. So you want to make sure it covers the this one's a rectangle one. It's kind of interesting, but okay. You do not want to overfill your pasta. This is something that I am super not good at, because like it's just such a tiny amount. It doesn't look right, but if you overfill your pasta, they will burst open when you're cooking it. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. This teaspoon thing is not going to work. Okay. So I'm going to put a little bit of filling in each spot. That's why when I was making the dough while ago, or the filling earlier, I'm like, oh, this is going to make a ton of ravioli. I'm not going to be making that many. No way. I don't have the patience for that. So just a little bit in each one. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. So yeah, the girls left to go to Taekwondo. They are Donbo belts, which is basically black belt in training. Coronavirus quarantine has really messed with their schedule. They should, I don't know if they would have already gotten it if it hadn't been from quarantine or just really close, but you know, they had to close down gyms, so they were doing online lessons with Zoom, but it's not quite the same. I was super glad their studio did the Zoom lessons, because it, you know, gave them something to look forward to each day. Oh, this one is not on the grid. Like, there's not enough pasta there, so I'm not gonna put that. Okay. Then I'm going to let's see. Trying to do this where you can see it. All right, I'm gonna take this sheet and I'm going to actually cut it to the size of the ones that I have filled up. Okay. And you're gonna see, my pasta didn't quite roll out as thick as, or as wide, I mean, as my tray here. But this is my first batch. And then you use your rolling pin and roll over these ridges. One thing I forgot to do was oil it, so hopefully they will pop out. We will see, because like I said, this is my first time to use this one. Goodness, I'm pressing pretty hard. It's hard to get the edge here. But yeah, we're very excited for them to get their black belt eventually. Okay, Oh my gosh, look at these. Okay, let's see if they will pop out without breaking. Oh my goodness, guys. I'm so excited. I have 7 ravioli. Woohoo! Now let's make some more. They're so pretty. Okay. I don't know if you can reuse the dough. We'll see how much it makes after I make all this dough. And then, I'm going to turn on my water to get it boiling. Do I want to do that yet? No, I'm going to wait. Okay. So I got this set aside. And I'll go through and do one more batch here while we talk. So isn't it like fun when you tackle a new cooking project and, you know, it's not going well? Because I promise you, this wasn't going very well. I'm like, what is going on today? But then you just keep persevering. You keep trying. You like keep going. Sometimes you got to know when to quit, like, honestly. But most recipes can be saved. I mean, as long as you, like, didn't just right out burn it or something. I remember, it was a couple weeks ago, I made a seafood, it was seafood pot pies. That's what it was. And oh my gosh, when I tasted them, I was like, this is vile. I cannot serve this to my family. But it wasn't like, it just tasted like it was missing stuff. Like there was just, it wasn't like, oh, I need to throw it away. It was like, it was not ready yet. And so I kept adding ingredients, which is always nerve-wracking because at the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, this may have to be thrown out. How many ingredients do I want to keep wasting to make this work? But I felt pretty confident I could save it. And so I just kept adding and tweaking and tasting until finally it was so good that I couldn't wait to eat the leftovers the next day. And I normally don't like seafood leftovers, but this came out so good. So sometimes, oh goodness, this doesn't want to go through. If you're still with me at this point in this video, I really appreciate you. Thank you for hanging out with me. It's kind of really fun to know that I'm cooking and chatting and having someone sitting there and watching along with me. So I'm going to go through again, and I promise most of the meals that I cook, I'm much more of a 30-40 minute cook. Like, I like to get dinner on the table fairly quickly. Okay, so now I'm going to do that whole fold it in thirds thing so that we can attempt to get a rectangle. Uh-oh, doesn't want to be a rectangle. Last batch rolled out so nicely, and this one is wanting to bite me. So if it's not laying flat, then it's not ready to go down to the next notch. Okay. There we go. Now we're going to the next notch. This one's also wider. I tried to make my rectangle a little bit more wide because my last one almost didn't fit the width of my ravioli maker. Okay, see, it was looking scary there for a minute, but now we're trucking. Get caught. So I don't know if the camera's picking up the construction noises, but we live in a new development. Our house just got finished being made this last October. So it's a brand new house. And right around us, there's about 5 new houses under construction, all at the same time. But luckily, they're all being worked on at the same time, so by the time they finish, this neighborhood will be mostly finished out, and we won't have to listen to the noise for going on in the future. I love old houses, but our last house was only 40 years old, but it was that point where like everything was going wrong with it, and we were just ready for new construction. Okay, so I'm going to show you this again. Pretend like I know what I'm talking about, because that's fun. Okay, so I'm pressing down with this. So this is just like bubbles, and it makes you know, the little indentions in your ravioli for your stuffing to go in. And then we'll add a little bit of stuffing. I'm trying to think what I can do with these leftovers here. One thing that might be good is to get like crescent roll dough and stuff it and make kind of like a crescent roll sandwichy thing. I could just warm it up and maybe fill it in pita pockets might be good. I don't know. I'll have to think on it. But it won't go to waste. So when you are doing a recipe, if there's an ingredient you don't like, most of the time it can either be, well, I mean, you're not going to pick a recipe called like spinach something and hate spinach. I mean, I guess you could. You could probably substitute kale, but all I'm saying is, like, I don't like ricotta cheese that much. I want to like it because it sounds fancy, but I just, every time I've tried it, it's like, I don't hate it. It's just not my favorite. And when I do the same recipe with cottage cheese, I like it. So stick with what you like, but always try new things. Can't you do both? Okay. So, going to put this on top. Uh-oh. And we're going to cut this off. Well, this last one's not going to work, I don't think. Well, we'll see what we get. And then roll it again. And then we'll, but here where I got double layer pasta, might not work, but I wasn't really paying attention to that. So how many raviolis per person do you think? Probably like, what, 8 maybe? I don't know what a serving size of ravioli is. I have a minimum amount. I'm also going to serve this with a salad. Okay. Almost done. See, this one kind of burst open. I'm going to remove the extra. Now that one probably will burst open while it's cooking, but then pop them down. See, my other ravioli maker also doesn't have these holes, so trying to get them out, it sticks really bad. Yay. Cute. Another thing that I should have mentioned is when you're putting on that second sheet of pasta, you want to try to squeeze out as much air as you can. You don't want much air in your pockets because they'll just kind of expand up. This one's the one that had the double layer of pasta, so what I'm trying to do is just squeeze that shut a little bit tighter. I mean, yeah, and this one too, so I don't think they'll explode. I think it's tight enough. And then I'm just spreading these out until I'm ready to boil them. Now, fresh pasta doesn't take very long to boil. You get your water up to a boiling boil and put your pasta in, and when it floats up, kind of like flip them over. When it floats up again, it's done. It'll only take like 3 or 4 minutes to actually cook this pasta. That's why you want to make sure that all the ingredients that you put in the dough is cooked. Well, anyway, guys, I really appreciate you sticking around, watching me make this pasta, homemade ravioli. Yeah, just have fun in the kitchen, guys. I will say goodbye now. I will show you the final dish when it all comes together. So I've got another one laid out. It seems like it's getting a little bit easier as I go along. And I realized on my last noodle that it wasn't quite wide enough in one section. So I just took, I can't really move this. I've got it clamped down to the counter. So I actually just took my rolling pin and rolled it out a little bit wider than it was to kind of fudge it together. So I just realized I didn't say what sauce I was going to do. I think this would be really good with a like garlicky brown butter sauce. But I know my family and my husband and my daughter Izzy would just be very happy with red sauce. And Maddie and I like pesto, which I have in the fridge. So I'm just gonna do, it's kind of funny, I'm going to all this trouble to make homemade pasta, but we're just gonna use pre-made sauces tonight. So, there you go. Anyway, I really have had a lot of fun making these raviolis. And while I was rolling off this last one, and I wasn't filming, and it went beautifully, of course, right? I guess I should have just let the video film and edit out later. I just was laughing because I'm like, this video is probably all the things you shouldn't do for your first YouTube upload. But I'm just gonna go with it, because if you don't start somewhere where, you know, there's never gonna be, well, I guess maybe there's a perfect video, the one that hits like 1 million views, but I don't care about that. I just wanna have fun. I wanna develop community. I wanna have other people who like to talk food and like to cook, and let's just have fun together, guys. All right. Now I'm going to say goodbye, and I will show you the finished dish when it all comes together. Happy little raviolis. Seriously, they don't take very long. I just put these in. Then I've got another batch because I didn't want to overcrowd the pan or pot. Oh yeah, earlier I said that all my pots were all clad, but that's actually not true. I do have a set of emerald ware also. That's another story I'll share for another day.